So on top of producing and creating our own podcast, Rob and I love listening to and experiencing other podcasts and its creators. So today we want to highlight a show called the Mixtape Podcast. These are some fellow Gen Xers who dive into the 80s, 90s, and some other topics that will have you longing for the greatest 2 decades, using a lot of humor and producing a ton of nostalgia. But hey, they can explain it way better than I can. So check out this trailer for the Mixtape Podcast and be sure to go find them wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love 80s and 90s music?
You freaking should.
Yeah, because if not, you have issues. But if you do, then boy, do we have the podcast for you.
The Mixtape.
Yes, Matt, the Mixtape, where we chat about, 80s and 90s music mostly.
Yeah, we sprinkle some other stuff in there too, though. A smattering of 70s and early 2000s.
Throw in celebrity interviews, a lot of immature humor, and some actual content, and you have a hell of a good time.
We do have a good time, don't we?
Yes, we do. Check us out. Spotify, Pandora, Apple, iHeart, pretty much all the places you find podcasts. You can search for us, the Mixtape Podcast. That's 4 words. Find us, listen, subscribe, share, and stay awesome.
Have you ever wondered what Nicolas Cage and John Travolta would look like if they switched faces? We're going to try to answer that question as we'll be caged in one last time on an all-new crazy episode of Totally 80s and 90s Recall. Hello and welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall, a podcast where we take a look at everything from music and movies to television and pop culture, injecting our unique opinions and providing some awesome memories, fun, and nostalgia along the way. If you're new to the show, we're so excited that you found us, and for our returning listeners and subscribers, it's great to have you back. I am one of your hosts, David, joined as always by a guy who can also eat a peach for hours, my good friend Rob.
That was unnecessary. All right. My emotions for this episode would
doesn't make it untrue, though. So,
golly. My emotions for this episode would best be expressed in a monologue by Gene Hackman in the classic Hoosiers.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a tradition in tournament play to not talk about the next step until you've climbed the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals was beyond our wildest dreams, so let's keep it right there. We need to forget about the crowds, the size of the fan base, their fancy recording studios. Remember that we got us here. We need to focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing the game. If we put our effort and concentration into playing to our potential to be the best we can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners.
Wow, you're really just trying to pump us up for this, aren't you?
Right.
We are now excited. I am ready to go play basketball.
Let's go good.
But we'll podcast instead, even though you motivated me to go.
Still 10 feet.
Still 10 feet.
Still 10 feet.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. And just like as we alluded to in the beginning, the old peach basket, right? Anyway, so, well, of course.
I have a feeling the peach
the peach
is going to come back.
The peach is the mascot of this episode.
The peach.
Yes. So that's all right. Okay. Well, joining us for our third and final installment of Caged In is the one and only Kurt. Welcome back. It's been a long but exciting journey.
Thank you very much for having me, boys. It's been fun. Last 3 episodes, I've had a good time. Can't wait for this here face-off.
Have you enjoyed being caged in? Caged in.
It's been one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah. You know what? I could tell that emotion in your voice sold it to me 1,000%.
I said that while looking deep into Rob's eyes.
Yes, that's the only way to say it.
The awkward pause is...
It wasn't awkward at all. It felt right.
Anyway, the awkward pause was waiting for you to hit the caged in button.
Yeah. Third episode
caged in.
So, hey, he got that one.
Nice work.
He said he was going to pitch a no-hitter on this one, but apparently not.
No.
All right. Well, Rob, we don't want to sidetrack you too much, but if you want to participate in this podcast, why don't you go ahead and tell them what we're covering on this episode for the last time.
All right, so final episode in the trilogy is we're looking at the movie Face Off.
Ooh, baby.
Also, Cage and Travolta.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, enough said.
Yeah, they swap faces.
Swap faces.
There you go.
Well, you just already got ahead of yourself.
Right.
You already gave the whole plot. You know what I mean? There's more. Okay.
Oh, there's way more.
Well, although I couldn't be more excited to be talking about Face Off today because I am. It's just a wonderful movie. It is with a little sadness as we'll be exiting the cage after this episode, and we'll, at least for a little while, say goodbye to our guest host, Kurt.
He'll be back.
Who's been a pivotal member of the team these last couple episodes.
Yes, I have. It's been fantastic.
It's been good.
It's been neato, gang.
Neato. That's like from
Golly
Anchorman.
gee, guys. Thanks for having me.
He does that on Anchorman. Super duper. That's great stuff. Neato. Right? So that is great stuff. So, it's been a long road. We covered The Rock. We covered Con Air. And the only way to end this caged in event is to move on to Face Off. And you got anything else, Rob?
No.
Before we move on? Nothing at all.
No. I think...
Have you enjoyed being caged in?
Dang it.
At all? No? Okay. Caged in.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, something like that. Everyone out in podcast land has a time delay. That's been my favorite part. Yeah, it's been good.
No, I'm excited for this one because this was of the three.
You thought this was the most artistic.
He put more. This is the heady one. He gave us a little heads up on that one.
I thought, yeah. So. I wanted to really hate this one, and then the more I got into it, I kind of like it.
It's impossible. That's how good it is.
Yeah. All three of them, though, I came in wanting to hate them.
Just best time of your life. So, medical accuracy be damned. We're swapping faces, bodies, wives, and everything else we have as we discuss the 1997 action film Face Off. Before we dive into the movie, let's go over some of the key details. Mm-hmm. Face Off was released 27 June 1997, just 2.5 weeks after Con Air. 1997 is now officially an awesome summer, as you could have gone to the theater and seen Con Air and Face Off at the same time, at least on the same day, which, by the way, is like the Super Bowl of dual features. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's just great. But also, listen to these other summer movies in 97, because I think you're going to like them. Mm-hmm. We have The Fifth Element.
Ooh, like that.
Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was the good one. George Clooney. Everyone loved that one. Men in Black. Mm-hmm. Little Will Smith. Air Force One, we've mentioned before. The Lost World, Jurassic Park. And second mention on the show, but Oscar-winning actor Brendan Fraser in George of the Jungle. Yes. So good. Well, Face Off stars Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, Joan Allen, Gina Gershon, and a whole host of other character actors. This has a Rotten Tomatoes of 92% and an audience of 82%. So anyone who thinks this movie is bad is crazy. Directed by John Woo. So yes, we'll have doves, double guns, and explosions, and maybe a church. It made $245.7 million at the box office and was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Sound Editing. It was the #1 movie in the U.S. for 1 week and the 11th highest grossing film in 1997. So with that, Rob...
Well,
go ahead.
Rotten Tomatoes is 92.
92. Critics
loved it.
Adored it.
Wow.
92 is...
Must be the scientific accuracy.
It is. 100%. and we're going to dig into that scientific accuracy. Right. So, well, Rob, why don't you go ahead and give us the plot?
All right. So Sean Archer, played by John Travolta, a very tough, rugged FBI agent and one of the FBI's best, is still grieving for his dead son, Michael. Archer believes that his son's killer is his sworn enemy and one of the world's most ruthless and sadistic terrorists for hire and criminal masterminds, the very powerful criminal Castor Troy, played by Nick Cage. For 8 years, Archer has hunted Troy and is consumed by revenge. One day, Archer has finally cornered Castor. However, their fight has knocked out Troy cold. As Archer finally breathes easy over the capture of his enemy, he finds out that Troy has planted a biological weapons bomb that will destroy the entire city of Los Angeles and all of its inhabitants. Unfortunately, the only other person who knows its location is Castor's brother, Pollux, and he refuses to talk. The solution? The only solution, apparently. A special operation doctor that can cut off people's faces and can place a person's face onto another person. Archer undergoes one of those surgeries to talk to Pollux. However, Castor Troy somehow regains consciousness and now wants revenge on Archer for taking his face. Not only is Troy ruining Archer's mission, but his personal life as well. Archer must stop Troy again. This time, it's personal.
It's personal. Well, that plot is airtight. There is nothing bad about this movie. There is nothing that could go wrong with that plot. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Face Off. So this movie starts with John Travolta at a merry-go-round, or we'll say a carousel, with his son. It's really hazy. I'm not sure what's going on that day, but it's this like weird haze. You'd
They're
say
shot
like
artistically.
a soft rock
it's kind
video
of
or something.
like a dream sequence almost.
Okay,
like a,
we'll go with that.
it's a flashback.
Yeah, and then we've got Castor Troy, Nick Cage, straight pimping on a hillside
With a mustache.
with a great mustache,
With a mustache.
drinking a soda,
Yeah.
milkshake, I don't know, some sort of beverage, very calmly. To which then he kills a 5-year-old child.
And he's not hiding real well.
No, he's just laying on this
He's
hill.
clearly standing
He's
on
in-
a hill.
Yeah, plain sight.
Yeah.
So and he murders a child
Yeah.
to start the movie.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes, 5-year-old kid,
Yeah.
dead, head blown off. By the way.
Yeah. He's gone.
So, you know what I liked about that though? I watched it.
That's an odd way to
Great transition.
You know what I like about that?
What I like about the
kid's
head
head's coming
getting
off.
blown off is if you look behind when he's clearly freaking out because his kid's dead. There are people still on the carousel.
Yeah.
No reactions.
No.
They're riding the carousel. No one's coming to help. No one's screaming. By the way, if a shot goes off in a park like that,
People
everyone
run.
scatters.
Yeah.
No. It keeps going around. They're just riding. So no one seems to be too concerned. Maybe they know how good of a sniper Castor Troy is, and they weren't worried about it. So
Maybe. Well, I have it. There was.
I mean, there's literally no reaction in the park at all.
They're like, oh, that's too bad.
Oh, that sucks.
But I paid good money for this ride. I'm going to stay off.
We're gonna get our money's worth.
Some lady comes around. Oh, did your kid get hit in the head? Sorry. Maybe you should have watched him better. Yeah. So.
You've got some blood on your back.
Yeah. You're
And that bullet passed-
You're upsetting my children.
That bullet passed clean through him.
Oh yeah.
did.
Didn't hit anything.
Like, and he's good.
What's a high-powered sniper rifle?
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe-
No, like punctured lung.
You know that
He walked away from that. What we assume he
Well-
did. He had a scar.
yeah, the scar. It went through clean,
Yeah.
and then took off half of the other head.
Mm-hmm.
So, but credit to a movie that just goes. You know what we're doing in the first 5 minutes?
Killing the child.
Killing a child.
And I had read that initially that scene was supposed to be like in the middle of the movie.
Like a flashback.
Yeah.
type? No,
But
much better starting.
They moved it to the beginning. Yeah.
So then we flash forward to John Travolta's character, Sean Archer.
Yeah, he's a mess.
He's rough, right?
He's a mess.
He's having a tough time. And he, but still winning multiple awards. His wall's covered in him being the greatest FBI agent born, right? But he's trying to catch Castor Troy. And we have this sequence at this convention center where he's dressed up like a priest.
Oh my gosh.
He plants the biological bomb you talked about, and then Rob, take it from there.
I don't know how you describe it. He has a little interaction with. There's a choir.
There's a choir,
Like a large choir.
singing.
And
Did he
there's
enjoy the singing?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, was it Handel's Messiah?
I believe so.
And then he has a little interaction with
I like the rocking out thing he did with his head, where he like swooped it back and forth.
and then he runs into a young gal in the front row,
She's definitely young.
and they discuss their love of the music.
That's what they talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I believe he grabs her buttocks,
Of course.
and then he.
I'm pretty sure he had an orgasm right
I
behind
think he
her.
orgasms.
Yeah.
I think he. Yeah.
The face he makes when he sings,
Yeah.
he's like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's rough, right?
Yeah.
She's like 15.
Yeah.
But she's smiling also.
Yeah.
So this
and
hits
that's all within the first
15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So we've got a dead child. We've got him behind this female. Did he mention the peach thing there? Or
Not
was
yet.
that the plane?
I don't
Okay.
think he said the peach.
I was gonna say
but
plane.
I
He
will
says
say
something to her. Oh, he says something's a fucking bore or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
But no, that's something that this movie, you got to give it credit for. Is it within the first half hour? Not even that. It gets right to it.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's an action movie.
Oh yeah.
From the get go.
From the get go.
Yeah.
Well, it's John Woo. He's hooking us up. So we go dead child. We go planting a bomb. Crazy interaction with the teenage girl.
Plane chase.
Chasing planes.
Yeah.
Right.
Boom.
So
Yeah.
where are you at on the chasing planes?
It was a good job on the chasing planes.
He plays chicken with his car with a plane, and the only reason
With a
he's-
Humvee.
But it's a Hummer.
Humvee.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
another
Humvee.
Hummer.
and the only reason he steers out of the way is because he's got old girl in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Which you can see, apparently.
Oh.
Little tiny window in the
Clear as
cockpit.
day.
Agent
Clear
Winters.
as day. Yes.
Agent
Agent
Winters. Yeah, poor
Let me
Agent
ask-
Winters.
Let me ask a question here. So Agent Winter's job on this aircraft, if I am getting it right, is to somewhat seduce to get information or something out of him, right? She didn't dress like you would want to dress to like seduce somebody.
Well, no, she was a stewardess. She was pretending to be a
She's
stewardess.
a stewardess wearing a tan suit with a turtleneck. Like, why is she wearing a stewardess outfit? Right? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then he gets all obviously excited and has her sit. And then that part about if I let you suck my tongue,
Well, no,
would you
he
be
starts
grateful?
by saying
Would you be grateful?
where he talks about where would if I were to send you flowers,
Oh yeah.
and then he cuts himself off and he says, "No, wait, no, if I let you suck my tongue,
Would you be grateful?
would you be grateful?"
And then of course we get.
Then she sucks his tongue.
She does, which
She does.
that seems above and beyond her undercover action, but that's fine. And then he
that's
has the quote, which he uses a couple times in the movie, Kurt. And what was that quote afterwards?
That would be, I can eat a peach for hours.
For hours.
What
So,
could he mean?
What? I mean,
That's
I don't
such a
know.
veiled
I
reference.
think
It
you're
is.
old enough. We don't have to explain it. To
Oh,
you.
okay.
All right. Have you eaten a peach before? I think you can figure out the emotion and understand kind of what his analogy is on that, right? It's gross.
Peaches.
Definitely. Peaches for you, peaches for me,
me.
right? Yeah. So, so you got her. She's somewhat seducing him. And then, of course, she's completely useless. As soon as action starts, she gets shot
Well, she blows her cover right away.
immediately.
She just draws her gun and
Pollock
freeze.
Pollock takes her down with just a case.
Pollux takes her
Was
down.
it a case?
He had like a case on his lap
Yeah.
and threw it at her.
Threw
and
it
then
at her.
took her
Something really simple. I'm like, that really distracted you?
But Pollux took her down. He's like not tough. He doesn't know anything about.
down. He's
Real
fine. He
quick.
just can't tie his shoes.
Real quick.
yeah, what is what?
My other thing about Pollux, that's not my worst thing about Pollux. That guy talks normal. I've seen an interview with that actor. What is this voice he's decided to go with here? Where he's like, "Hey, Castor, it's gonna be smoggy." Like, I don't know what this is supposed to be.
Kermit the Frog.
He made a conscious choice, to Kermit this up a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, why? I don't even understand why.
I think it works.
Yeah, it's odd
guess.
for sure. And always waving goodbye to people with just his pinky finger.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Reason. This other finger's
I think
not
he only does that to Sean Archer.
Is it just him?
I think it's just Sean.
Is it supposed to be like?
I don't know.
Is he? Because
I think he does it
or
twice.
something. He does.
don't know.
It's a whole odd. Pollux has a lot of interesting thing going on. He's just like when he ties the shoe, he's standing there like he just doesn't even know what's going on. And then Castor's yelling at him, "I pay you to take care of my brother." Is he that inept? But he can build some crazy bomb that no one else can defuse. But he can't tie his shoes. Right?
Well, and I read because there's some intentionality with their names, right? It's astrological, Pollux and Castor,
Greek.
and it's Greek. But then
They switch the roles
Yes,
of them,
right?
Where
So-
Castor's usually the kind of the
Yeah,
weak
he
link
was,
of
and
the
Pollux
two.
was the immortal.
yeah, and so I'd read a couple of things that said that was intentional to reverse the roles. I don't know, understand the symbolic.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, so we have this plane off, and then Archer flies a helicopter into the plane. Great. And then Cage gets mad at the pilot because he won't take off, even though there's a helicopter on the wing.
Yeah.
And at one point, they lose the wing. And then, of course, we wreck into a hangar. Explosions everywhere.
Yeah.
And the amount of double guns and diving while shooting guns.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
There's nothing better than this whole movie. They're always diving to the side or rolling on the floor
Yeah.
or doing somersaults while shooting, and they hit everyone.
Well,
Yes.
and
they never miss.
So this is really good that you said that, because one of the things that I wrote in my notes was talking about. I always forget to watch these movies through the lens of 1997, right? Like, let's
Okay.
talk 1997.
Let's
What was movies like, right? So the whole double gun diving thing,
Yeah.
that was John Woo.
Oh yeah, that's
Right.
his
So
signature.
now it's everywhere now. the whole diving and shooting it, this is where it kind of started. He started that, and so we see it now and you go, oh, that's kind of old, kind of movie lore kind of thing. But
Oh yeah.
that was a big deal in
It is a big
'97.
deal.
I mean, that was, you saw it slow motion and the two guns, and
After all the two guns, after all the fight, they capture Castor Troy.
also on the plane. I had read that John Woo used it was a real plane.
Yeah.
So, and that was the other thing we've talked about in the last episode, was this is pre-CGI.
Oh yeah.
So this is not
This is blowing
CGI.
things
This
up.
is a real plane. They really put it into a hangar. He had 13 cameras.
He loves
that recorded
cameras.
all the angles to get it, you know. So I just thought that was interesting that we're talking 1997 pre-CGI.
Yeah.
This is the real
I
deal.
like it.
So, yeah.
Did you see in
Real
the
action.
airplane on the steering wheel is a JW
Yeah.
for John Woo?
Yeah.
John Woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to John Woo.
John
Also in the Beastie Boys song Sure Shot.
Oh.
It says that line where it says, I got more action than my man
John
John Woo,
Woo.
got more hits than Rod Carew.
Yeah.
There
that's
you
right.
go.
Okay.
So
yeah.
he made it in. That's how relevant he was
At the time.
in
Yeah.
the mid to late 90s. So
That's cool.
Well, they catch Castor. He's presumably dead.
He gets
They
like
think, or he's in a coma.
fired into this
Yeah.
engine thing. I don't even know what
Engine
it
block.
is. Yeah.
And they arrest his brother, take his
Lots
brother to jail.
of continuity issues in that hangar scene. My wife and I are watching it. You can
talking about?
see the cords hanging from the guys when
No.
they get blown back. Oh, you can
No,
totally see
come
them hanging
on.
in the back. Yeah.
I'm sure the editing guys didn't notice any of that, so it's fine. Look, these are stunts. They can't be, they're not doing it for real, Rob. So, but we get Castor. He's in a coma. You think Sean would be happy? No, not happy. Still
No.
upset. Goes home. Wife hates him. Daughter's insane.
Life
right?
is not good.
No, it's not. And then they call him in, and of course they want to get info from Pollux, and so we'll talk for a few minutes about
Well,
this part.
he tells
right?
his wife that he's gonna.
Oh no.
They're gonna go to counseling and right.
Yeah, he starts with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Never was going to happen,
Yeah.
but that's fine. And then, of course, this great plan comes up to. There's this doctor that can do a surgery where he takes off your face.
Well, okay.
Hold on,
Before that
hold on.
starts,
Makes it another face, other body, and not just the face. We can fix everything, right?
but see the actress C.H. Pounder.
Yes,
I can't remember what role she plays.
she's.
But the part that I snickered
like
out when
special ops
I
in
was
the FBI.
watching it is they're sitting there running through all the options.
Yeah.
And she goes, there is one more option. I was like, that.
It's a great option.
And there really was only like 3, but they
Yeah.
got to the third one, and the third one is
That option?
that. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's
That was it.
you had that in your pocket.
Yeah, just sitting there.
Okay.
She was waiting to use it.
There is one more thing.
That was
So we go. So he agrees to the surgery after at first complaining, but he complains and agrees to everything. The whole movie. That's Sean Archer.
Well, and then he's
So-
sitting there rattling off, going, so what you want me to do is you want me to put my career at risk, you want to put my family at risk, and he rattles off like 4 or 5 things, then he goes,
Okay, fine.
I'll do it. I'm like, okay.
It does not take a lot of convincing to get John Travolta going.
Like
in
everything
this
he
movie.
listed was like every reason to say no, and he goes, nah, okay, I'll do it.
He is just a sad sack at the beginning of this movie.
Well,
His personality.
He's
is
unshaven, his
just-
shirt's
oh,
untucked.
gosh. Yeah, he's
snarking at his crew, and he's
Even-
like,
yeah,
what are we,
even-
the FBI? Or what,
Yeah.
we don't have
Even-
intelligence.
even
or-
after they capture Castor Troy and the office is celebrating because they finally got this guy. He goes, "This is to
Agent
such
Winters.
and such that died, and such that died," and he like slams it down and walks off. And I'm just like, "This is a
Buzzkill.
killjoy, man! It's- No one can have 5 minutes to be happy."
no good job, boys. No, none of
Good
that.
job. No top-notch work. Nope, none of that stuff.
What about Winters?
I will say there's one small stereotype in that hangar fight. Margaret Cho comes in with some roundhouse karate kick.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like, she was the only one that did martial arts in that whole scene. And I'm like, John Woo, did you? Hey, Margaret. And she's a comedian. She's not like an established action star. Hey, Margaret, this is what I'm going to need you to do. She's just like, all right,
Okay,
that's
all right,
fine.
yeah. That seems right.
That seems right. I'm the only one that could do that. There's 15 other white guys in here. I'll throw the roundhouse in, right? So I'll do the karate kick. But yeah, so we get to the hospital. He's going to do the face off, right? So let's unpack the face off.
Okay.
Kurt made a good point earlier about his buddy, though. His buddy originally was like, you got to do this. This is the only thing to do. To which then
right before the surgery, I think this is a bad idea. I don't think you should go through with it.
Right?
It's like, make up your mind, man.
I'm in scrubs.
Yeah.
They've got me
he changed
IV'd
directions quick.
Yeah,
He was just like, oh, never mind. This looks wrong, right? So, all right. So, what do we think of this surgery?
Yeah. I don't, so many questions about. It seems so easy.
It just seems like
They-
the laser around the outside,
they did it-
and then the skin all just comes off.
Just comes
like
right
nothing
off.
was else
Yeah.
holding it
Nothing's connected to your nose, your eye.
No.
So, just so you know, from an anatomy standpoint, if you were to cut around the outside of your face will just come off.
Yeah.
Your nose and eyes and mouth and cheeks and all that, they're not attached to anything.
As long as you have a good vacuum.
So look, you can feel it. Just pull your face away right now. It'll pull right off.
No, like nerve in. I mean,
No,
I don't know.
nothing. Yeah. So, well, no, Nick Cage has the pain pills, so
That's
it's
true.
fine as long as you have some of those fancy little pain pills.
I really like how when they actually did the swap,
Yes.
they really made it a point to fold
Yes.
To massage
to really
the skin of
massage
the face.
the skin on the forehead to show that it's
What they
not
didn't make
connected.
a point to do was make those faces, masks, look anything like
No.
Nick Cage or John Travolta.
You mean that wasn't them?
I mean, I assume it was. But.
Especially earlier when they come to visit Castor when he's in his coma, and she does the cigarette on his arm.
Yeah.
That is,
It's not him at all.
It doesn't look like him at all.
I am shocked right now.
So
this is new information.
So yes, obviously taking the faces off was a little too simple. And we were led to believe this is the only doctor that can do this. Like he made this surgery. And then at the end,
But I know a
They
guy
do
that
it
knows a guy.
very quickly.
the wife goes, "Oh, we called in a top surgical team from DC."
DC.
I'm like, how do they know what to do? Like, and they killed the one guy that knows how to do it. I mean, is there some journal they read, or did she just call up? Hey, we've got a situation here. We've got a face off. I need it swapped back. We'll be there in half an hour. Yeah, no problem.
Well, and then there was a lot of, so they did the face, but then they in the pre-surgery they're talking about liposuction.
Their bodies don't match.
So then I'm like,
at all.
But then what about their junk?
Yeah, so that's a question
Ooh la
for
la.
later, right?
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if
Okay.
we have that, but we'll just say it now. So
Wouldn't
they do everything, and then
the wife-
once he's John Travolta, Nick Cage, he does have sex with his wife.
Yeah, wouldn't
She doesn't know. I checked with my wife on this. She said that
she would know?
She would
Yeah.
know.
Well,
he would do things differently.
But the argument I read though is that
his rhythm would be off.
in her journal she clearly states they haven't done it in 2 months.
2 months.
So maybe
Okay,
he hasn't
no,
seen
look,
it.
2 months is not that long.
You don't forget in
I
2
know.
months.
That's true.
And they've been married for a while. And
Maybe they're they're like never
I'm
nudes
not-
or something,
I'm
and they never
obviously-
see
yeah. I'm obviously not a purveyor of penises,
yeah.
but I would imagine they're different. They're like snowflakes, I think, right? They're not all the same.
I think so.
I'm gonna
Okay,
go
so-
with your expertise on this one.
All
I'm
right,
sure.
Yeah.
I've
So
not
I'm just
looked.
going to think she would know what was going on.
I would think so too.
But this is so once they switch, this is where my favorite thing happens. Travolta takes his acting because he's kind of this sad sack, and now that he's supposed to be Nick Cage, and I read that they spent a couple hours together before the movie, kind of getting to know each other's mannerisms, and then said, "This is my version. This is my version." And so Nick Cage is acting kind of like a ho hum sad sack, and John Travolta just takes it 200 degrees up. I mean, it's almost too much, but it's not. And I love the fact that it seems like they're just trying to overact each other.
Yeah.
The entire movie.
Well, it's very one article I read that I really liked. It said, and it's true. If I think I'm going to say this right, it was John Travolta acting like Nick Cage, acting like John Travolta.
Oh yeah.
And then it was Nick Cage acting like John Travolta, acting like Nick Cage, and this multi-layered. I just think it's
Well, so many things when he becomes John Travolta that don't make sense, but we're just going to roll with. He's driving home, has no idea where he lives. Although, couldn't he just look up the address at work? But fine, we'll say
I like how
that's...
he blows past the house and he goes, "Oh yeah."
Well, no, he blows past the house. He
Recognizes the wife and
He
hits the
recognizes he doesn't know her. Yeah. He sees one woman walking out of a house and goes, "That might be my wife." Yeah. So he just pulls back, and when she goes, "Oh, you finally forgot the house," he goes, "No." And then he makes his crazy, "I don't want you to leave, but I love watching you walk away."
Well, and even in the car when he stops, he says something like, "Oh yes." And it's something Nick Cage would have said was like, "Oh yes,"
but
he puts it in reverse.
But when he's driving at first, he's like, "Oh, Boersville" or some crap like that, right? So, but when after the wife leaves and goes to work, we get into super creepyville because he goes upstairs.
Oh yeah,
and his daughter's in his room hanging out in her.
What
underwear.
does he say? He goes, "The plot thickens."
The plot thickens, and it's gross the way he says it. Yeah. And then the way he's eyeballing her is just
reaches
rough,
around her to get the cigarettes.
Yeah. It's awful. Yeah. You're going to be seeing a lot of changes around here.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
It's rough, right? So, and then Cage is in jail as John Travolta, trying to figure out. I guess he says he knows him great, but has no idea how to act like or what he would say, right? But what I found interesting is the brother immediately knows this is wrong for no reason. Like, he looks, it's him. And yet he's like...
And he tests them right away. What medicine did you give me?
And he gets it right.
Yeah.
But he's immediately like, this smells like a face-off. Like, I don't think this is right. And then when John Travolta comes and he talks to him, he immediately goes, yeah, you're my brother. Like, no questions asked from Pollux. I know you swapped.
Yeah.
No one else in the prison knows what's going on. But Pollux is like, no, this is a swap. I know what's happening here.
Yeah.
I really think that went from 0 to 100 too fast. Like, just for no reason.
Well, and this is the part of the movie that I like because it makes it, it's a strange movie in that it's not just a cat and mouse, crime. Now it becomes quasi sci-fi, right? I mean, we've done the Face Off, but we're now in this like Supermax, like our boots magnetized to the ground type jail.
Which I love the boots. They're from
Mario
Brothers, the Goombas.
Yes.
Right?
Wait,
So-
before I think
so
we
then
glossed, I think we glossed over something.
Yeah.
We jumped to Travolta being Cage being Travolta. Real quick, rewinding back to that. After they did Travolta surgery, Cage is in with no face, and wakes up. I don't know why he wakes up, but he wakes up.
One of the good quotes in the movie happens there when he meets the doctor there.
Pulls the bandages off his face, and it's fine. Take some pain pills, but no, you would be in so much pain. I can't even imagine. You have no face, right? Anyway, so I digress. He has no face. Then how can he talk? I mean, he's... my son noticed. He goes, "How's he sounding out the W's and like the B's?" I mean, he has no lips. Like, what is happening here? And then he starts smoking with no face
in a hospital.
Right? In a hospital,
there's probably oxygen. Yeah.
And then I have to question their tactics. So he brings the guy in, makes him do the surgery, but they kill him and the agents, so no one else knows about it. But he mentions later that they're going to swap their faces back. I'm like, why would you kill the one guy that can do the surgery? Why wouldn't you just take him hostage and hold on to him? Because by killing him, you've essentially ended, because he doesn't know there's a crack team in D.C.
No.
He's not aware of that.
No, nobody knew.
And how are you going to explain that? Hey, by the way, I want to switch back to Castor Troy now. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So I would think you would want to hold that doctor hostage in order to get the surgery redone later.
Yeah.
So I thought that was flawed, setting that dude on fire.
Well, and then there's that close up in the guy's glasses. And that's
So
the only
gross.
time you really see his face, and he clearly has a nose.
Yes.
Which makes no sense,
but,
again.
Pre-CGI, now it'd be totally different, right? But his little quip about, I think the doctor says something about, like, what do you want? And, he says, what the hell do you think I want? I want my face
thought it was
back.
like, take a guess or something like that.
And he's smoking.
He's clapping in his face. He's doing that slow clap.
And he's like, I was checking out your best hits. Or
Your
something.
best hits. He goes, great work, or something like that. So, back to the prison.
Yeah.
The boots are cool. The fight's weird. He does that crazy face.
Yeah.
And I like when he says like fuck or something, but he'll say it calmly and go fuck, because I guess Archer's doesn't cuss. But then he's like, but I'm Castor, so then he goes fuck and like tries to really accentuate it. Like, I'm Castor Troy.
Yeah. Shut your fucking mouth. Yeah.
I like how he just keeps announcing,
great.
I'm Castor Troy.
I'm Castor Troy. So I think if I want to say anything that Pollux deciphered that led him down the path of this being a face-off is that he called him bro. And I think Castor didn't call him bro, right?
No, he hated he calls him bro, but he hates it.
Oh, but he hates it. Okay.
Yeah.
But Castor does do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what's tipping him off, I guess?
See, that's why I think there's you talk about over analyzing it. But,
Please do.
You talk about like, what is identity? What is it? Is your identity in your physical appearance? Right?
Yeah.
Which is, it's not. You're so much more than your physical, and so
gotcha.
The two characters are
he's just
very
like,
much more than their.
So Pollux just knows this is Sean Archer.
Yeah, he just
pretending
knows
to be my brother.
Yeah, there's something different
Perfect.
about him.
No one else suspects it, just Pollux. Because when he goes to the cave with all the other criminals, Castor, everybody loves him. No problems there. Gina Gershon has sex with him. She doesn't care, right? This is Castor. Again, can't tell, but I'll give them a more gap in time. Although she did have his child, but that's fine. So confusing. Some of the medical accuracy, a little confusing here, but fun, right? Another thing I don't understand, he escapes from this prison, which is an oil rig, in the middle of the ocean. He dives into the water.
There's a boat in the water, helicopter above him.
Yeah.
Helicopter above
he
him.
gets away.
Dives in, and next thing you see him stealing a car on land.
Yeah.
He was like 5 miles from shore, at least.
Yeah.
He did not swim all that.
What kind of car did he steal?
A beige Volvo.
A beige Volvo. The trilogy.
So good. The trilogy. Nick Cage loves beige Volvos. So
No,
he steals that car after swimming 5 miles?
Yeah. Well, I was on a chat deal reading a conversation, and they said exactly that. Like, so you jumped off an oil rig.
Yep.
Unless you're trained, you're probably not surviving that. That's a long ways down.
Long ways down.
And they were like, even if you slow kick in slow motion like that, and then they're like, no, that's like movie rules. Once you hit the water, you're free.
You're free.
You get,
that's it.
Like,
and he had to
off
swim.
limits.
So he's swimming to the shore. We assume.
Yeah, there's a helicopter in the air.
There's a helicopter.
What, he
Did
hold
the
his breath
helicopter
that
just
long?
leave?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we lost
Like
him.
we
a sudden-
can't find him.
Like you wouldn't patrol that whole area.
Yeah.
And like in 10 minutes, some dude pops up and starts swimming. You're like, should we check on that guy? Right? There's
It's only
no
a
one else out
secret
here.
Supermax prison. They
it's
wouldn't
no
have
big
any
deal, right?
guards
Yeah.
out there.
But if you do watch it, it looks like once he hits the water, they're like, he
Yeah.
jumped in the water, and the
Oh,
helicopter
boy.
goes the other direction.
Yep.
They're just like, he's dead.
We lost him.
I just like on this part how Sean Archer, FBI agent, has no problem starting a riot where multiple guards get killed,
Yeah.
beat up, and he's fine with it.
He is fine with it.
Yeah.
No problems. And then they were shock treating that one dude's head. I mean, he was vomiting on himself.
Oh, yeah.
He's all messed up.
Well,
and within 2 seconds, he's up beating up everyone in the place.
and
no
if you-
residual effects.
And if you notice, Pollux, or Castor, is talking to him in one words.
Yes.
He's like, stop.
No.
Because the guy's a vegetable. He's fried.
He's a vegetable, but beating everyone up and
he's
using a gun like
he's
it's
not,
no problem.
He's like, he's talking to him like he's a vegetable. He's like,
I don't
no,
he
stop.
Shouldn't. He shouldn't have been able to get up and do anything. His body shouldn't have been working. Right.
So he's like Frankenstein at that
That
point.
whole escape was a little asinine, but we got to get him out of there.
That's right.
Otherwise, we don't have our.
But I also
situation.
think you talk about like him not having a problem starting that riot. I do think there's an element of when you really start to analyze the two characters, Castor and Archer are very similar in who they are. They're both guns for hire. They both kill people for a living. They're both kind of deadbeat dads. They have very similar. And so I think I don't think it's a stretch for Archer to become Castor. I think it's very easy for him to become, because I think he
adopts to it pretty well.
You know what I mean?
So he does a good
and
job.
the flip, right? I think Castor starts to take to Archer's role because he starts to like defend his daughter.
I will say,
and he's trying to be, so there's a little bit of they're not too far. They're kind of the same, and they have, unsupportive. They're unsupportive dads.
But I will say, Sean Archer signed up for this surgery. He knew what was going to happen. But as soon as it happened, it's like every time he looks in a mirror, he starts crying.
Yeah.
And he gets mad. Like he told the doctors, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then he broke the mirror. I'm like, you knew what was happening.
Yeah.
It's not like they knocked you out and then you woke up with his face. Like you signed off on this. And then you're mad about it. And then every time he sees himself in a mirror, he starts crying. Like it's like, come on, man. Get yourself together and get through this crap. Because otherwise, what are we doing here? He's supposed to be this big bad FBI agent. He acts like a pansy most of the movie.
He
At
is
least
kind of.
Cage's version of him is that he's this little pansy.
Yeah, he is kind
So, well, let's talk about, real quick, our favorite subject. So, Travolta's family, to include John Travolta as Sean Archer, the Archers as a family, like to do this little movement that shows affection amongst their family members. I think Sean Archer kicks this off, but everybody follows. And so they take their dirty fingers and rub them down each other's faces, palm down. And John Woo referred to this in the script as the love touch.
The love touch.
Sounds gross.
Yes.
But we've also heard on another podcast and other places, it referred to as a face waterfall.
Oh.
And I like that much better.
I do like that
So
one.
we're going to say face waterfalls. I counted. I've got 10 face waterfalls in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's gross. Like
I'm just
I
gonna
don't
go
want
out
you
and
rubbing
say-
your dirty fingers across my face.
I'm
all
saying
the
right
time.
now, I would bet you $100 if I walked down the hallway and I face waterfalled my wife, she would punch me in the face.
Well, I can tell you it doesn't.
She
go
would
well.
recoil in horror and be like, "What are you doing?
It
I'm pretty
doesn't-
sure people in David and I's family would be like, "Stop it, not again."
Don't touch me."
Just so you know,
Because we've
How
done
many
it
times have I
before.
told you not to do that?
so just 2 nights ago, I watched this movie, and Laura was sitting next to me on the couch.
Did you do it?
And while she was just staring ahead, I just rolled over, and I did it. And she was very unhappy. She said, "Stop touching my face."
Yes.
All that stuff.
That's
so
I just like in the movie, every time they did it, you can actually see the fingers like hit the lip.
Yeah,
and you're like, it's gross.
It's not
Come
even like a symbolic, like I'm away from it. It actually rubs like
right
raw.
down the
Yeah.
face. It's
Yeah.
pretty horrific.
That's
right. So, I don't.
Well, and they do it to the daughter does it to the kid at the very end.
Yes.
So good. It's so
And I was
terrible.
like,
This poor kid.
He's just been traumatized. He's pulled in, and
Yeah.
we're rubbing our hands.
First
on
thing
his
we're
face.
going to
He's
do
like,
is
what
rub.
the heck
He's
are you
going to
doing?
be like, "What is going on?" By the way, they're moving
touch
him.
me.
They're moving him into that kid's room, which hasn't changed since he died.
Yeah.
And I give that kid 2 months before they just start calling him Michael.
Oh, that family's
like
gonna
we're
fall apart.
changing.
I'm telling you.
His name's what's his name? Adam or
Adam.
It's Adam.
It-
Wife's name is Eve. Come on now.
But as soon as that kid moves into the Archer's
There's some
house, I'm
symbolism
telling
there.
you, they're just going to sit him down a month later and go, "Your name's Michael now, so just get over it."
Well, and
That's
I know
what's gonna happen.
we're jumping to the ending, but I find it funny. He walks up, and then they have this embrace, and then he goes, I have a favor to ask you. He never asks.
No, he just
He
brings
just
him
goes,
home, pushes
hold
the
on,
kid.
and he pulls a new kid in, and
Wait,
then
first of all,
the wife just says yes.
You're glossing over the worst part of that scene. So
He
you
came home
had-
alone.
Yeah, he's at the hospital getting major
And she's at the
surgery.
table. What was she doing? She's like reading
a
or something.
doctor, and she's just like, "Call me when you're ready," or like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be at the hospital waiting.
No.
She didn't give him a ride home.
He said,
from the
"No, I'll get a
hospital.
ride."
He walked up, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And then of course it's him looking very phenomenon.
Oh,
John
yeah.
Travolta
A lot of glowing.
in that
There was a
scene.
glow.
He had the glow.
Yeah.
He was a little unshaven again. It was that little smile he had. Very phenomenon. Great movie. But anyway, she just sat at home. Yeah, he's at the hospital getting major reconstructive surgery. All these things are happening. He'll just come home when he's done. Oh, and I'm bringing this child with me. Yeah. And all 3 of the family members are like, "Yeah, come on in. Let's go." And they're like, they didn't even blink. Should we talk about this now? He's our new
good.
substitute child.
That's right. Yeah.
He's 5. He looks exactly like the other one. He even has the same
So,
haircut.
It's like the same
I know.
actor.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's nothing wrong here. It works perfectly. I mean, you can't do anything wrong here. So, a couple other questions about the surgery, which we said. There's one part he's rubbing his face on a wall, and he's like, "My face itches." That's what he says. And I'm like,
his partner was nice enough to rub his face for him.
the only thing after this surgery that's a problem, the only side effect was his face itches. This is our problem.
Well, his face was just itchy, but he couldn't because he was handcuffed, so he couldn't itch it himself.
I also like
and the recovery time was amazing.
amazing. I also like that they put that thing on his throat to make his voice, and they're like, "Don't get hit in the throat." He gets hit in the throat like
All the
15
time.
times, and his voice never changes until the very end. So
Back to that ending part, I found this quote. It was this conversation with people online, and it said, "How much therapy do you think this family needs now?" And one person replies back and says, "No, they're great now. They seem to be very resilient." And somebody says, "Just going to sweep the hole. I accidentally slept with your own son's killer because of your work thing under the rug."
no big deal.
Oh, and then the daughter says, "Sorry, I shot you, Dad."
That is the worst line delivered in that entire movie, and she delivers it so terribly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shot you, Dad. She's not a
okay.
good actress anyway, but that really was bad. So, well, another thing I think we're glossing over here, and not really paying attention to, when they have that big shootout at that warehouse where he's with those other criminals.
Yeah, the hideout.
So the bald guy, who's Gina Gershon's brother,
I want to hear your take on this.
he gets shot in the neck, and he's dying.
Squirts out.
And so Gina Gershon's going to run off with the kid. And right before she runs off, he grabs her and makes out with her right in the hall.
Oh, yeah.
And they're brother and sister. So when you're dying, is this...
I don't know.
Is this something that we do?
Are they really brother and sister?
Yeah, they say it in the movie.
I don't
like
know.
15 times. And I looked it up online. Yeah. They're related. They're brother and sister. And they make... I mean, that's not like a kiss on the cheek as I'm dying. Like, they're swapping tongues. It was kind of gross.
From what I read, the actors were the one that came up with it. Wu said, "Yeah, go with it," because they just wanted their characters just to have that extra creep factor.
It's gross.
They succeeded.
It worked.
It's rough. I've watched that 100 times, and I'm like, why are they making out? And by the way, they're shooting 3,000 rounds into this building, and that kid puts on those yellow headphones and doesn't hear anything. No,
that's right.
Fine. Yeah. He's smiling and waving at people as bullets fly by his head.
He's got somewhere over the rainbow,
blaring in his ears, and he's just like...
I did find that a very artsy scene, where they've got this massive gunfight going, and the song that is playing in the background is Somewhere Over
the Rainbow.
Like
it's very telling.
Very like juxtaposition.
Haunting.
It reminded me a little bit of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Where I can't remember the song that's playing, but it's
when they're fighting that big thing.
It's this upbeat song, and people are dying in the background. And I thought,
but the Guardians aren't making out with their siblings, so that's one plus for the Guardians.
That's true.
I still don't understand why they're making it out.
I like one of the scenes where Archer's telling his wife a little story about their first date and everything. And I found he's talking about we went surf and turf, but she was a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And then I go back to when Castor Troy was Archer. He made 2 lobsters for their date night.
Yeah.
She had a big old lobster on her plate, looked like half eaten. So there was a continuity problem there, or she's just not vegetarian anymore.
First of all, she hasn't had sex in 2 months. So she's like, look, if lobster gets me booty,
I'll do it.
I'm doing it. This is what's happening now because I can't wait any longer.
She's going to...
That's what's happening. Right?
Her morals be damned. She's
Morals be damned.
eating the lobster.
Yeah, I'm eating this because this means...
I'll eat the lobster.
Yeah, it's fine. So the church scene... pretty classic scene, right?
Oh yeah, I like that. The doves.
Got the doves flying in the background. I
John,
love that they
John
were just
Woo loves
waiting.
the doves.
He does, and I like the standoff where everyone's pointing a gun at everyone else.
Yeah. Oh,
so great.
Well, it gets really silly where it goes, a father would never do that or never let that happen. And he goes, well, a brother either, and then or a sister,
or a sister,
it's like, or just waiting for or a nephew,
or
an uncle.
Well, I like that he's an FBI agent. And he just starts walking around at one point in the movie with those 2 nefarious criminals. No one seems to care.
No.
If they knew who Castor was, those are his 2 right-hand guys. Everybody knows who they are. Wouldn't they be like, hey, Agent Archer, why are you hanging out with those 2 guys? Don't worry about it. It's fine. So
everything's good.
But after the church, you got your standoff, you do all this. And so you've had a child shot at the beginning. You've had this hangar explosion, chasing planes. You've had this shootout at that warehouse that was totally insane. You have, siblings making out. I like when Nicolas Cage, as Sean Archer, goes to the house. She doesn't even scream. This is the guy that murdered her son and is like the worst person on the planet, and she just stands there. Doesn't make a noise.
Yeah,
and there's 3 cops downstairs.
Yeah, he's able to de-escalate it pretty easy.
Just easy.
Like,
and he gives her
didn't
2
fight.
Yeah, he says 2 sentences, and she's just like, this sounds right. I'll just sit down and believe that. So we've had all that, and then we get to a big gunfight at the church, although there was another gross part where John Travolta's got the daughter, and he licks the side of her face.
He uses the peach line there.
Peach line
he
again.
does the peach line.
That was a little disturbing.
Yep.
But then you think, well, there's no chance there would be a boat fight at this point in the movie too. Oh no, we're gonna have a boat fight as
Classic
well.
boat fight.
So I timed it from the time that boat fight starts, like 30 more minutes till the end of the movie. This is the longest boat chase I've ever seen in my life.
And at the time, that was the boat chase. To beat all boat chase. Like that was, it was the thing. And then he water skis on his feet. Come on.
He's holding on with one arm
with
chain,
a chain.
going like 90 miles an hour off that boat. Yeah. But what's worse than that was when he jumped the police boat while it was exploding, lands on the other side, doesn't even miss a beat racing with John Travolta, and just keeps going. No problems. Yeah. So my son saw that. He goes, the boat was on fire, and then he landed, and he just kept, he goes, that doesn't seem right. So, and then, of course, they wreck at the end, have their little fight. Right? He starts cutting his face off.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they make no, well, they probably made an attempt. It's not a great attempt at the stuntmen. Like, it's a slow-mo. They're being thrown through the air.
The wigs are fantastic.
Clearly not John Travolta. It's clearly not Nick Cage flying through the air.
No, not at all.
And you can clearly see their faces. But anyway.
Yeah, well.
Oh, yeah, he does that weird cut-your-face-off thing. And,
I'm like, well, you're just getting that started for me. Just take it off. I need it off anyway. So, well, I like also, again, where no questions are asked. The wife, Joan Allen, calls the FBI and goes, I got to tell you something, but I promise it's true. And then all the agents show up and they walk up to Nicolas Cage and go, Agent Archer, are you okay?
What'd you say?
Again, no questions asked. We're not going to... The actual looking Archer's dead on a wall, and none of the FBI agents are like, could that be the guy? No, it's Nick Cage. We're going to believe this. No questions asked. She goes, I ran the blood DNA. It's good.
That's right.
They're the
I
opposite.
read somewhere that there was even there's some symbolism in their blood type. Where no, seriously, of
course
there
is.
Where Archer's blood type is like a universal blood type, so it's it's
He's a universal donor.
He's a
Castor's a universal receiver.
Yes, but whatever his blood type is, it's really rare, and you need, so he's a taker.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Well,
he's a giver.
Couple fun facts before we move into our categories. Originally, when they wrote this script, they wanted Arnold and Stallone.
Oh yeah, there was a ton of
Schwarzenegger and
people.
Stallone. Well, they wanted a ton of people, but those were the main.
people.
This was written for them, and it was written in like '92 or some craziness. But they could never do it. And Michael Douglas produced this, like Fatal Attraction. Michael Douglas. So interesting there. John Woo paid for that scene in the warehouse with the kid wearing the headphones, getting the whole place shot up because the studio he'd already gone over the budget. The studio said we're not going to pay for it, so he paid out of his pocket because he thought that headphone scene was pivotal. Was what he said on the DVD extras.
Okay.
So, and you already hit it. The sibling kiss was ad-libbed.
Ugh.
They said that the rest of the crew was like, that's an odd choice. And John Woo's like, nope, good. Can it?
Like it.
Move on. Let's go to
Yeah.
the next part.
No.
So,
I also had other people that were tagged were Harrison Ford, Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, Robert De Niro,
So
Al
everybody.
Pacino, Mark Wahlberg turned it down, and at one point Patrick Swayze.
could you imagine Pacino in this?
Yeah.
I don't know which part, but he took my face off.
You can't take.
Can't take what
give
you've
back what
stolen
I
from me. Or what's that one where he goes when Sean Archer as Castor Troy as Sean Archer, and they thought that Castor Troy is supposed to be dead because he jumped off the oil rig that he should have been dead, and he's like, he's dead, and he goes, well, did they? They go, yeah, but they haven't found the body yet. They haven't found the body yet? Like, he was like, get on it.
I can tell you, he's already here.
Travolta's 0 to 100 with no apologies, and it's great. I think it's fantastic. So
I did read somewhere it says Nick Cage considers Face Off one of the best movies he's ever made.
I agree with him.
So
I can't. Who's going to disagree with Nick on that one, right? So, well, we're still not having any fun. So for the last time, being caged in. Caged in. Let's hit up our categories. You know the first one. Category 1, favorite character. Kurt, why don't you tell us who that is?
I'm going to go with your favorite, too. Pollux Troy.
Oh, it's not my favorite. But yes.
That's Castor Troy's brother.
Yes.
I put that, he's a genius. He can create this nerve agent bomb.
Can't tie his shoes.
Can't tie his shoes, but, not everyone's perfect.
Nope.
Um,
Wears the same outfit the whole movie, except when he's in his prison outfit.
It's hard to change.
Other than that's a jacket and the khakis every time.
I mean, he did get to do the jump and shoot, but after the plane into the hangar, but he only had one gun.
He did.
Only got the one gun.
That's why he got captured. If he'd had
That's
two
right.
guns, he might have got away.
That's right. He takes the medication Divex. That was
What's that for?
That is for either epilepsy, bipolar disorder, or migraines, but it never says which one it's for.
I would guess the bipolar because he's kind of crazy.
yeah.
I was going to go that or epilepsy, just because he's got the kind of weird.
He does have
tics.
the twitches.
And
Yeah.
he seems like he's kind of frail,
Yeah.
Yeah.
weak a little bit.
And of course, that great talk sound he makes with his voice.
You really love
Hey,
that one.
big brother. It looks like Custer's having some fun. It's just, it's an odd choice.
He
And
was-
again, you're directing this, and John Woo's like, I like it. Let's go.
Hey, to be fair, he was nominated for a Blockbuster Entertainment Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Who didn't win?
Okay.
He did not win, just nominated.
Who do you know who won?
I do not know.
Oh, that would have been really good
Because
information.
I think he should have won, so I just got mad and
All
stopped
right.
looking.
I can give it that. Well, my favorite character is John Travolta as Castor Troy in his own body. Are you confused
Yeah,
yet?
okay, wait. Okay.
So I want the Travolta who is actually Castor Troy, who's licking his daughter,
Okay, yeah.
having sex with his wife, probably having sex with his daughter. We just don't get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the best part. He's going over the top. His quotes are amazing. He's facing off in mirrors with him. He's that part in the church where he sings a or whatever he's doing.
And just the way he does the pose, and he puts his hands out and cocks his head to the side.
When he tells the daughter after, because they have the same voices, and he's like, no daughter of mine would ever miss like that, when you hit him in the shoulder instead of shooting him. And,
Dad, shoot him, Dad.
Shoot him, Dad. So that is my favorite character.
Okay. Right.
When John Travolta starts, ramping it up to 1,000 bucks, he's in the office. He's grabbing his assistant's butt. He's slapping other people on the butts. He gave that one guy a heart attack, apparently, and killed him. He's just going 0 to 1,000. I love it, and that's the best part. So,
I like the part when I think they're in the church, right, where everybody's now joined, and they're all pointing guns at each other, and Travolta goes, wee! He does this
he does.
Wee!
He's done that in other movies, by the way. He likes that. So.
Let's see. My favorite character is Agent Winters. Only because of the conversation. We'd already unpacked it.
God.
She was committed.
She's not.
I understand she's not a main character, but
she's alive. Got 2 minutes in this movie.
She was committed. She sucked his tongue. She was prepared to sleep with him because she was starting to unbutton her blouse. And then they got interrupted.
It's the honey pot. She was doing the honey pot.
I don't know.
I thought it was a peach pot.
It was going to turn into a peach pot.
She's like deep cover, right? I started reading about can FBI agents do that?
Oh, yeah. Can they suck tongues?
There's got to be a line, right? And I found this article said, while there's no absolute way to identify, it was some chat room, and it was like, how can you identify an FBI undercover agent? And here are some telltale signs. Did this person suddenly turn up out of nowhere and then get along with members of the group within hours of showing up? So she just shows out of nowhere, and now she's all of a sudden a stewardess, and she's on the phone. Does he or she act overly enthusiastic about your group? Does he or she appear to be excessively helpful? Well, she's sucking on his tongue. Offering to take people to take them places and get them there afterwards. Does he or she volunteer for tedious tasks, which, while doing the rest of you a favor, allow him or her access to data such as a membership list data, blah blah blah. So she's not very good undercover.
No, she's doing a bad job.
I was like, I gotta give it to her. She was in. She was in for the team. She's a team player.
Way, another thing to unpack real quick. When she's sucking his tongue, right there. Pollux is sitting in the corner right across from him.
He's watching.
Like grinning.
Yeah.
And he's got this weird look on his face. I'm going to guess that's the first time he hasn't watched his brother have sex with a girl.
No, that's not the
I'm
first
pretty
time.
sure he sits in the corner and watches it all the time. Or he's in another room, like looking through a hole in a wall. But I'm guessing, because when they're in prison and he talks about the girl sandwich he had with the wife and the sister before he went to prison on that dude.
Oh, yeah. Pollux knew all about
is
it.
like grinning and remember you had
he was there.
You had a threesome with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to guess he sits in the corner and watches this quite a bit.
Yep.
All right.
Anyway, Agent Winters. I got to give it to her. I was like, she's in.
She's terrible.
She's a teammate.
She's not a teammate. She's really bad at her job.
She literally took one for the team.
God. And she got shot.
So
when they explained to her undercover, they're like, you're probably going to have to suck his tongue. You're probably going to have to sleep with him. He's going to do this peach thing because he likes fuzziness.
Yeah.
So maybe don't shave that day, right? There you go.
See? And she was like, I'm in.
Too much.
Too much. The wives are going to hate that part.
Oh, no, they'll love it.
I'm predicting that. I can hear Laura right now going,
they call it
David.
They call it peach fuzz. I mean, I'm not making this up. All right. So
we're just double down.
Wow.
Double down.
Wow.
Double down.
So, all right. Well,
no, and then the other part about that I thought was funny. It's awful, but Castor puts her out the door.
Yeah.
Shoots her in the side, throws her out the plane, and then he just kind of goes, "Oh, sorry."
Well, they run over her.
Yeah.
So.
And the look he gives to the
there you go. and Travolta's not that upset about it. He's just like, "Damn it!"
Yeah. Well, he's
another name I have
he's
to
more
say with the
frustrated
champagne.
because now they got to
They're
stop.
going to get away.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, so that takes us from that to category 2, our favorite quote from the movie. So
there's some good ones.
We'll let Rob go first this time.
Okay. It's not a real major one, but I just thought it was really clever. So it's when Archer is actually Castor.
Yes.
At the house.
We all know.
And the daughter's sitting at the table, and he comes up and he says, "If you dress like Halloween, ghouls will try to get in your pants." I thought,
well, by the way, a little foreshadowing.
For Danny
the dude in the
Masterson.
car,
Yeah.
Danny Masterson, sexually assaulting his daughter,
Yeah.
is now in prison for sexual assault. So,
Yeah.
guess it was a training ground. I'm not sure. It's not
just-
good. So we can thank John Woo for that one as well.
Yeah. But just the way he says it.
Oh no, that's a great line.
you're
Then he
gonna
gives her the
dress
butterfly knife.
Yep.
Just jam it in and turn
Tweers.
it. And the wound won't close. Yeah. Do you have protection?
You mean like a condom?
Mine was he's in the hospital. She's at work. I don't know why he's so upset by this. And he pulls that thing off the dude's face. She's working on the patient, and he's like, "Oh, so worried you left in the middle of the night." Yeah, I'm an ER doctor. I leave. Yeah. But anyway, as they're walking out, he's with his two friends, and he goes, "Lies, deceit, mixed messages. Ugh, this is turning into a real marriage."
Yeah. Okay, and let's rewind a little bit. That dude's wound is not good.
Oh no.
It's like the side of his face is gone.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I mean, and all she's doing is some just looks like
sutures.
Some sutures. That's going to take more than some sutures.
You know why she can't work on him better? Same wound her son had. Trauma. Having some PTSD.
Oh my gosh.
Couldn't put that one back together.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mom. I got a mom for a doctor, and I just bled out on a Ferris wheel next to the carousel. Thanks a lot. What are we doing here? All right, Kurt, what do you got?
All right, so mine is when Archer as Castor Troy is at Sasha and Dietrich's warehouse.
Okay.
Perfect. Archer takes a little drink, it's got a little drugs in it. Takes it, and then he says, "I want to take his face off." And he goes,
"You want to take his face?
Take his face off?"
Yeah, you want to take his face? Yeah, he goes, "Yes, his face off. Eyes, nose, skin, it's coming off.
It's coming off."
And then Dietrich looks at him and goes, "Face off," and does a little hand motion like he's taking off his face.
Well, it's not even that.
And then he goes, "No more drugs for that man."
No more drugs for that man. What I like about Dietrich is he poses like he's doing some Shakespearean thing. He goes, "Face off." He puts the arm out.
And my note said,
"What are you doing?"
His hand motion was kind of like the chef's kiss, but it was like the whole pull the face off.
I was like, "What?"
Well,
are
then
you
right
doing?
after that is when Nick Cage goes into the bathroom. Well, he goes in and passes out on the bed. Then he goes to the bathroom. He does that weird, gritted teeth thing, and he's like, "I'm Castor Troy. I'm Castor Troy."
Yeah, and she walks in like, "What is
and
wrong with
then knocks him out. Or smacks him or something.
And then when he wakes up, he's got the kid and hugs the kid. And what does he start doing? Michael. Like, you're such a psychopath.
He's already calling it
this
Michael.
Poor kid again is like, what is going on in my life right now? So I think a couple other good ones that I had, but Cage as Archer, he just blurts out that one time. He goes, "You watch your fucking mouth." Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. He said, "You better pull the trigger because I don't give a fuck. I'm ready for the big ride, baby."
Which he sings again at the end.
Travolta, Cage and Travolta. It hasn't been recovered yet. I said that one. And then Cage, John Travolta. I don't know what I hate wearing worse, your face or your body. I mean, I certainly do enjoy boning your wife, but let's face it, we both like it better the other way. Yes? So why don't we trade back? And he goes,
B.
"No? All right, plan B. Let's just shoot each other."
Yeah, I had one that was Castor as Sean when he goes to the jail to meet him. Oh, yeah. And he goes, "I've got a government job to abuse and a lonely wife to fuck." I mean, to make love to.
He was all in. As soon as he had Sean Archer's face, the first thing, I'm going to have sex with that wife. Yeah. Like immediately. And of course the daughter. So
one of the ones I liked is when he's in the interrogation room with his brother, but he's as Archer.
Oh yeah.
And he says, the brother says, "Seeing that face on you makes me afraid my tiramisu might come back up."
That's not how he said it.
And then Castor Troy goes, "Well, think about me, this nose, this hair, this ridiculous chin." I was like, well played.
So good.
Which was Travolta's idea.
Put that
line
to make fun of himself. So, all right. Category 3, favorite explosion action sequence. Kurt, lead us off.
I got to go with the boat chase scene.
It's really good.
It's the best since Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, so that it's got everything. It's got the jumping,
what about the boat
shooting.
chase in Titanic?
And as I've said, Titanic is garbage, and I will never see it.
Chasing glaciers.
There's no boat.
There's no boat.
If you say so. You can say there's a boat chase.
No, that's
still
great. It's a great scene.
But yeah, it's a great scene. Even the crash, they go flying 50 feet in the air, land. Well, neither one of them's hurt. They can keep fighting.
No, and that boat has no problems. They put holes in it with an anchor. Mm-hmm. They've shot at it. They've got chains hanging off it, and it's still as seaworthy as possible. Yeah.
And they're obviously familiar with maritime navigation.
Oh, of course.
They drive those boats really well.
Well, and Travolta got shot and a couple other things and just gets in the boat like it's no big deal. Like, I think he got stabbed. The girl stabbed
him in the leg.
The daughter stabbed him in the leg. He's fine. He just keeps going. So, well, I'm going to go. I mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to church shootout.
You like
I mean,
that?
the setup on
That's
this,
good.
doves are flying, double guns everywhere.
A lot of slow-mo.
The standoff, so much slow motion in this movie. Everything's in slow motion. Everyone pointing the gun at everyone else. When she tells him he can have the child, please take care of our son. So she thinks it's Castor, but it's actually Sean. Well, Sean took that as I'll take your child. No problem. What's that like, by the way? So Sean Archer shows up looking like himself and goes, hey, your mom died. She said take care of you, so I'm going to take you home. All right. Kid just goes. Like, I think there's more steps than that, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, what's that conversation like when he gets old enough to...
There's no conversation. That kid is messed up the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I told you, they're going to move him into that room. He's going to look around and go, what is all this crap? And then here, put these clothes on. Wear that sweater. That'll look good on you. And then I told you, they're just going to start calling him Michael in about 2 months.
He just won't go to the merry-go-round.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. And a ridiculous haircut. He had, I think,
Same
dressed
haircut.
like Chucky.
He looked like the kid from Liar Liar, too, by the way.
He does. I like during the church scene, I like just randomly Nick Cage does a flip somersault.
Oh, yeah.
Just lands and then starts shooting.
Yeah.
Oh.
He like doesn't. It's just right in the middle of the church. Flip and then start shooting.
Laurel goes, "Why did he flip?" And because Travolta was running behind something, he goes, "Why did he flip?" And I go, "Because you need to flip." I don't know.
Just needed a flip.
The efficiency just makes no sense.
It got him further faster. So.
I guess.
Well, what's your favorite? What else did you like about it? Your favorite action scene? The boats.
He did his boat chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the boat chase.
I said, what else? You said that
we're going back to my boat chase now?
Was it over?
You did yours.
Yeah. I know.
Now it's his turn.
All right. I just want to make sure. I
didn't want to take all the time. I got confused. I thought we were coming back.
I kind of felt like I jumped in on you, so I want to make sure you're done talking about
No,
the
I
boats.
got it all. The very end of my boat
we go.
chase scene, you just got to love when he finally gets the spear gun to shoot, and he just yells, "Die!"
Okay, I was going to ask that. What is that? Yeah, die.
He just needs him to die.
That's a Nick Cageism.
That's it.
He's got to die.
He's going to die.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. My action sequence. I really like it. Was in the hideout.
Yeah.
Later, that's a giant facility wherever they're
Place
at.
is great.
Multi-level. They get down in the basement and they're doing that mirror. There's the scene where they right after the quote about Plan B.
Yeah.
Let's just kill each other, and they turn to look at each other.
In the mirrors.
Great scene. I just think that scene right there, I just thought was really well done.
It's done.
Because you have John Travolta looking in the mirror, but he's Castor and he sees John Travolta on the other side. You got Cage looking in the mirror and he sees the guy he wants to kill. They're shooting each other through the mirror. There's imagery there.
They are not shooting each other. They are missing
They
badly.
are missing badly.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
It's
think
the one
John
time they
Woo,
can't hit anything.
Like, that was the moment. John Woo's off screen, like, we got to get this right.
Yeah.
And then they do the mirrors, and he's like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I saw
this is
one
it.
quote that the person said, I think they thought about that scene and then they built the movie around that.
Yeah.
Because I think essentially it comes to this identity thing. Who am I? Who am I going after?
If you watch more of that scene, John Travolta's doing some like pre-Matrix stuff. He's running in a circle while he's
on the wall.
And he's going like 1,000 miles an hour. I'm like, we were watching, we're like, what is he doing? Like, how is he moving that fast?
He's like parallel to the ground.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's some like pre-Matrix stuff like right there. So, all right. Favorite vehicles, category 4. What do we got? I got speedboats. For all the reasons you said. Because I love watching the speedboat race.
I had the speedboats
so I got
as well.
speedboats as my favorite vehicle.
I did not.
There's lots of opportunities for other vehicles, but I like speedboats.
Yeah.
I thought you'd go tan Volvo.
No, I did the tan Volvo the first time.
Yeah, I like the speedboats.
Beige Volvo.
Beige. It's a form of tan.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Beige Volvo.
You went with it. Nice.
I did.
Perfect.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, if you Google the beige Volvo trilogy, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's all over the internet.
I will say that car Danny Masterson was driving was a nice sports car, though.
Was that a Trans Am?
Trans Am?
Red Trans Am.
It had the Firebird on the front, I think.
I think it was a Trans Am.
Yeah, so he was doing a little throwback. Because even in 97, that's an older car. But it looks like he souped it up, maybe redid it, so it looks nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, category 5, I don't know how you'll find anything, but least believable scene. I'm just going to say the entire face-off procedure. Let's just be real about this movie. Obviously, that doesn't work.
Is that what you picked, too?
But you can tell me yours. That doesn't work. You can't just cut out the outside of your face and your face comes off like a mask. It doesn't. None of it makes any sense. And then they just put it back like it's no big deal. They put all his fat back in him. They put his hair's back exactly the way it was.
But he didn't need the scar anymore.
Didn't need the scar anymore. Right. So it doesn't make any sense. So
I like
fun as it is.
I like in that scene how the doctor's describing it, and he goes, and then we take your face off, we put his on, and then we just simply attach the tear ducts and the nerves and everything else.
Just simply.
And he uses the word simply like it's no big deal.
No big deal.
And I'd read somewhere, and I've seen it on TV. I mean, they've actually done face transplants. And like back in 2010, this guy like shot his face out with a shotgun. I think he's trying to commit suicide. I don't know.
It doesn't look like it does.
Okay.
I've seen the
yes, and I'm trying to be respectful to those people, and they're trying to get their life back together. But I'm sorry,
it looks rough.
The end product is rough.
It doesn't look like it does in this movie.
It looks like their face is melting in like.
Wait.
Do you ever see RoboCop where the guy goes through the ooze and that's what it looks like? And
so you're telling me it doesn't look like it does in this movie?
No, there's no way these two guys come out looking tight. Like,
what's your least believable scene then?
Super stupid is
it's
all
great.
super stupid is that when they shoot the propane tanks, it's totally been debunked.
Oh, okay.
You would not get an explosion.
Mythbusters
episode 95.
Oh, you're such a nerd. All right.
Mine was part of the face-off surgery.
Okay.
It was once they take off his face and they drop it in the liquid, which is magically going to keep his face alive.
It's a secret concoction.
Was that the best place to leave that? There was no storage room or anything?
Leave it open so it does.
And nobody's wearing any like surgical gloves or masks. Like,
but that's not the part that's least believable. It's with his face off, just a giant open wound. They throw a piece of gauze on there, and then they start cutting his hair. They just 100%. Hair flying everywhere. Yeah. One little of those hairs get stuck underneath the face when they put it on. That is just an infection.
Maybe that was the itching.
That was the itching. He had a couple hairs stuck in his cheek.
You got some hair under
it's
my
full circle
mask.
Now I get it.
I get it. Right. So yeah.
But yeah, that was the only part of the surgery I had trouble.
Oh, that was the only part.
The only part. Great. The rest of it, I think, is scientifically sound.
It sounds.
Everything else legit.
Yeah.
What about those computers they were using? Those were legit.
Oh,
were you pretty happy with those?
Yeah. The 3D, the classic,
dated
the body turning around.
It was a great 3D printer they did for the guy's ear.
Oh yeah, putting the ear on.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
And then he got shot in the head. So
that's right.
Thanks for the ear.
But it's the only thing that's left of him.
A little like futuristic accuracy, right? I mean, that's 3D printing's a thing now. I mean, that's a real deal. So
all right, so here we go.
Woo got something.
Yeah, Woo got something right. Well, here we go. Extra category 6.
I was not prepared for this.
And you can't use any of the proposed actors. So if you're switching these two out.
Oh,
right. For the movie, not as we've done on the other ones, who would you be selecting? So this is me. I'm going with Jim Carrey as Sean Archer.
Oh.
And I'm going Tom Cruise as Castor Troy, as Cage. Carrey would then have to dial it down to be like Cruise, because Cruise is a little subdued.
Yeah.
And getting to watch Cruise do his crazy Oprah Manic event, cranking it up to be Castor Troy, and to be like Jim Carrey. Would be fantastic to watch because Tom Cruise would try to have to match that normal Carrey activity and animation, and watching Cruise do that would be like when he jumped on the couch on Oprah. Right? So I'm going to go Carrey and Cruise if I have to swap them out.
All right. I think if I went serious, I think I would go Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So that would be a good swap there. If I wanted to go comedy, I think I'll go Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Okay.
Man, I don't know. I would go... I'm trying to think of like two people that kind of juxtaposition, right?
Well, you know what I would want to do while you think about that is I would want to make it... I want to challenge their surgical abilities.
I was thinking about that too.
So I'm going to go like Chris Rock... And let's go with Will Ferrell, right? So let's see how good your surgical procedure really is.
I was thinking Chris Farley and David Spade.
Okay, that too.
That would be.
Let's see how you do that. Let's just add those together. Or make one a girl and one a guy.
Yeah. That's right.
Let's go ahead and swap that out. Am I getting implants? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
So-
do like a female version.
Yeah.
No.
The guy, girl.
Archer's a female. Castor's still a male. Let's do the swap.
Okay.
Maybe they won't notice my huge
Yeah.
Adam's apple.
Yeah. I would do Vin Diesel.
Oh,
nice.
which part?
I would have him be Archer,
Okay.
and then do Johnny Depp.
So Depp becomes
Because Johnny Depp
Archer.
can do the over.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Archer, him going to Archer from Castor Troy would be weird.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think of
could lick
somebody
a
that
peach
would
for
that would
hours.
purposely do like this. Oh,
What would he do?
Right?
I can lick
Yeah.
the peach for hours.
think Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
all
Yeah.
Do we need to?
Yeah.
That would up the creep factor
Yeah.
on that, like
Right.
when he stares down the daughter and licks
Yeah.
her face.
Yeah.
Just as Johnny Depp, that would
yes.
be a little rough, right?
Yeah.
And I think you could still throw Pacino and like De Niro into this.
Oh, totally.
Take them from Heat and
Oh,
put them into this.
yeah.
Remember in Heat when Pacino's like, she's got a great ass, right? So,
Yeah.
imagine that energy turning into Archer.
Oh, yeah.
Papa's got a brand new bag, right? So he's just going to be like 0 to 100 the whole time.
Now he's just trying to throw his impressions
Yes.
in.
Imagine him with that part where he says they haven't found the body yet. That Pacino would be off.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be off the
Yeah.
levels right there.
That's funny.
So you could always put him in. Well, I have one more bonus category.
Oh boy.
This should be easy. But category 7 for this one bonus. We did the 3 movies, The Rock, Con Air, Face Off. So what
Oh.
do you think was the actual best film of this trilogy?
Oh my gosh. Just personal, or are we just
Yeah, your choice.
knee jerk? That's our choice.
You could
Okay.
someone put these 3 movies in front of you and said you can watch one. You only get to watch one. Which one do you watch?
I'm gonna shock myself on this decision.
Are you going face off?
I'm going Face Off.
Face Off, nice.
I think I'm going with The Rock. When I will be honest, when I first started these 3, I was like, face off, no.
Yeah, that's I.
But as I watched it, I was like, you know what? It's growing on me. I like it a lot more.
To me, it in all the areas that it tries to be over the top.
Yeah.
It's unapologetically over the
Yeah.
top, like it's supposed to be. So you
I read
hear it.
several-
You hear it a lot of times where people say, "Oh, this movie's got a movie has a cult following."
Oh yeah.
This is one of those movies that's kind of that almost like a B movie type, like it's just over the top.
I saw
and-
reviewers say, critics, it's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be. So
And I saw a quote where it talked about how it was a good mixture of John Woo's kind of Eastern
yeah,
movie making, and it mixed with Western movie making, and so it had a lot of like the double guns and the dragon and the thing and the slow coat,
The slow moving of
you
the
know.
coats as he gets
I mean,
out of
that
the
was
car.
stuff that he did in his his
You said good. Anything you say good, Laurel's gonna be like, no. She's just shaking her head. She told me she hates that movie. Anyway, so I'm gonna go The Rock #1
Yeah.
because overall I think it's the best movie. Face Off would be 2, and Con Air is last. I enjoy Con Air, but I enjoy it 3rd compared to the other 2. So I would agree with Kurt and say The Rock is the best movie.
I think
So,
for
but
an
Face Off's
audience
tough,
movie, The Rock was probably but for me, I think just for a entertainment standpoint, the
Nice.
Face Off, I didn't think I don't want to like it, but the more
Yeah.
I watch it, I go, oh my gosh.
Well, we've made it through being caged in. And unfortunately, it's coming to the end of that. But before we go, we want to thank Kurt for being on the show the last 3 weeks.
Thank you very much.
And digging into these phenomenal, I don't have enough good words for this, but these fantastic action movies of the 90s. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll bring you back again sometime in the future. But that does bring us to the end of the episode of Totally 80s and 90s Recall. We hope you've enjoyed being caged in the last 3 weeks. And particularly this week, reliving the movie Face Off. If you like this podcast, please hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend. We know you have people that you know that like the 80s and the 90s. So shoot it over to them, let them listen, and then go over to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us feedback and 5 stars, which will help the show grow. Rob and I love hearing from our listeners, so please leave us a message on Instagram, Twitter, or our website, which are all included in the show notes. You can also email us at 80s90srecall@gmail.com with comments or show ideas that you want to hear in the future.
So what is our homework for next time?
Our homework for next time, we have to leave the cage,
Oh.
as we mentioned, and we're going to go back to our tried and true, what we're good at, back to
Okay.
music. Next week, we're doing another Billboard Hot 100 countdown.
The people like the Billboard.
They do. I like the Billboard, too. So I love to revisit music. This time, 27 June 1991.
Ooh, 91.
So fun year for Rob, fun year for me. Kurt, you got anything else?
I do not, except for thanks for having me.
Yep. It's been quite a journey.
I enjoyed being caged in.
Yes.
Caged in.
Perfect. Rob, you got anything else?
I got nothing.
He's got nothing. Fancy goodbye?
No fancy goodbye.
All right.
Caged in.
He doesn't do it the whole time. And then throws in like